All right, Sarah, here's your read. So basically the first card that came up would be the King of Pentacles reversed, and this shows where you are now with things. It does kind of show like losing a grip on things, maybe making some hasty decisions. It's like you haven't reached the level of security, comfort, stability, those types of things that you wanted from your relationship. And this caused problems between you and your partner. It's like this card would show one party is really impatient, irresponsible, unreliable, and supportive, that type of stuff. There is neglect in this relationship. This card a lot of times does show some level of infidelity. How far that level is, it doesn't show, but it does hint at that. You may not be managing your finances so well, or it can also show the other extreme of where you're putting money and making money before anything else. So this card definitely represents issues surrounding money in either extreme. So it also can mean like you're stuck in the rut of things where things are just monotonous, like that tired, predictable routines. Things are dull for you right now, and that's what this card would indicate. So the challenges, when I pulled a card for challenges, it was the Fool reversed. And what this card means to me is that you may be feeling just so fed up by the dullness and the predictability of the routines that you've possibly done something impulsive regarding that and that feeling, and there are some repercussions of your actions that you may not have anticipated because you were so caught up in that. It's almost like, so the Fool is on the card, and that shows somebody very much in their youth, and it's like you know how the youth don't see the consequences of their actions. It's very similar to that because they're just very impulsive. They're not using that frontal lobe. So you may be living in the moment, more or less, is what this card would tell me. You're not really, you're acting without planning for the future at this point. This card can also serve as a caution that you need to be more aware so that you're not taken advantage of. So kind of be on alert for anything that might sound too good to be true. In your distant past, you know, this is, you know, going back maybe like a year, 6 months to a year, around there. The Nine of Pentacles card is what came up. And so what it talks about for your distant past is that you did have a lot of focus on money and on the gaining of material things. You gained a lot of stuff. But behind that stuff, there was not enough emotional fulfillment, and that was what you were really needing. So the Nine of Pentacles can also show in a relationship that one person, you know, they wanted to have somebody to spend time with. It's like, you know, they like the companionship, but that didn't mean that the love was really there, that deep in love feeling in that partnership. It's like they had this question of, you know, I don't know, do I really love them, or is it that I'm more scared of being alone, or at this age I'm supposed to be in a relationship when my friends are in a relationship, so I need to do that too. So there's that kind of feeling that goes along with this card, and this would have been something going on, like I said, in your distant past. This would be like 6 months to a year ago. Now in your really recent past, and now this is, you know, within the past 3 months, around there, the Queen of Wands came up. Another card came up with that, and which was the Ten of Wands. So I blended these two cards together, and they actually make a lot of sense when merged, which I wasn't sure how that was going to come. So the Queen of Wands, what she represents is, you know, like this really independent woman. She's really confident and outgoing. She's friendly. You know, she approaches love and friendship with like this self-assuredness. She's the type who's not likely to change who she is just to like fit somebody else's desires or fit in with a crowd or please her partner. She really doesn't care what other people think. So the way I interpret it is this card represented you within this period. And what kind of happened with the second card that came into play, which is the Ten of Wands, it's like, so the Ten of Wands is somebody carrying this huge burden, this huge workload, this just a whole lot on their shoulders. And it does feel to me that because of that, you know, the burden of life and work, you know, it kind of chipped away at those qualities that were so strong in you. You know, and that also made the love in your relationship, because you have so much on your plate, feel more like a burden instead of, you know, something that helped you, because your partner really isn't equal. And so a lot of the burden was on you. It caused this resentment. And instead of him being somebody that helped you carry that load and made things easier for you, he almost made that a little heavier for you. And this just left you like with no time for self-care or to maintain that. So it pretty much depleted or dampened, I want to say, some of your more outgoing and confident nature. So the fifth card that comes up, you know, this is a focus, things to focus on card. And the card that came up was King of Wands. And basically what Spirit is saying is that you need to try to remain objective in your current situation. You really, you know, have to establish some truth and some insight about it, strictly by sticking to facts. Just be deeply observant about all these problems that are coming your way, and really try to confront the issues at hand and with a sober mind, because you want to make the best decision. So Spirit was really coming forward with this and reminding you not to make decisions or have important conversations while under the influence. For the near future, in your near future, again, this is like a 3-month window, if not sooner, you know, very soon. Three of Wands is a card, and it says coming up for you, you will start to have a clear view of things coming into your future. You will know very certainly what you want and start to take those steps that will turn into your reality. You will be in a position where you can make some decisions that control your destiny. So the next card that came up is the Five of Pentacles. And this card is one that's talking about like yourself, suggested approach, your attitudes in the situation. So 2 cards again came up actually with this one. So it was the Five of Pentacles and the Hierophant reverse card. And so what this talks about is that you are feeling as if something is missing. You know, you're struggling to put your finger on exactly what that is. So that feeling is leaving you isolated and alone, even when you're around people, because your mind is just trying to put the pieces of everything together. You may come to realize you've placed too much emphasis on making money and having material things, and that you kind of neglected your spiritual well-being. And so now, now's the time where you may start to get back in touch with some of that. You are looking for, there's this like little wild streak in you. There's this wild streak is the best way to put it. So there is this feeling that you're looking for opportunity to kind of rebel and unleash and let loose a little bit. And that's just yourself really trying to gain back some of that personal power and independence that you felt like you lost. I hope that makes sense to you. A better way and a healthier way to do that would just be to sit down and, you know, people like to say the way we do it around here, like sit down and think about what those things are and if they really align with your own values and who you are at this point. The 8th card is talking about other people in your life or outside influences. And that is the card that came up would be the World reverse card. So it does feel like there isn't closure with someone. And that card, the World Reverse card, definitely signifies that something with a person in your life is very incomplete. It always 9 times out of 10 means that you just don't have a feeling of closure, and usually it is from a past partner. So something requires you to tie up those loose ends. And the reason why that's important is because once you do that, it kind of frees you up so that you can start to be happy in your current moment. The 9th card talks about your hopes and fears, and the card that came up is the 10 of Swords reversed. So your hopes are to rise above the problems that you're going through, obviously. To rise above haters, their bitchiness, that type of thing, to get over the worst of what you're going through, to survive what to you feels like a disaster in your life, to be saved from it all, to pull yourself together from it, and of course to learn from these hardships. Your fears, you actually fear your fears coming true. That's actually more prominent than the actual fear, is the fear of the fear. So you're also afraid of things being beyond help, that the worst is yet to come, that whole feeling of despair or total ruin. And of course that a lot of old problems that you thought you left behind will come back. So the 10th card, which is the Queen of Swords reversed, is, potential outcome for the future. So this is looking more into the long-term future for you. Again, to the 6-month to 1-year window. Of course, some of these things can happen sooner, and we all have the ability to change the course of things in life. So in the course that you're on right now, if you continue the path that you're taking, in your potential future, you may feel a strong need to isolate yourself from your usual social circle, family and friends. It's just that you're going to have this big feeling where you want to avoid other people who are going to interfere with the decisions that you'll make, because again, it's about you taking back your power and your independence. And so you're going to have up walls, and you're not going to want to interact the way that you were. You're just, you're going to be really focused on one particular issue, and this issue is just going to be the type that, you're going to be putting your emotions and your heart before your head, and so you're going to feel really vulnerable, and that's why you're protecting yourself during that time. But you have to be really careful not to, there's a balance. Like, you don't want to let other people and their opinions dominate and affect your ability to make those decisions, but you have to find the balance. Don't isolate too much coming up in the future, no matter how much you feel to. Isolate as much as you need, but you still have to maintain relationships with people. And while you're doing that, the best way to approach that is just to have really firm boundaries. You do need people in your life. Everybody needs people in their life. So use your voice to speak up for yourself. Be respectful when you do it, of course. Use your words to open more possibilities in life around you by keeping people in, but in healthy ways. When you have communications with people, make sure that there's an emphasis on clarity. You don't want a bunch of crazy miscommunications, a gossip, he said, she said, all that going back and forth. Be very clear of what you expect from them. Show your fearlessness, but do it with an open heart, because again, these are people who matter to you and you matter to them. They're worried about you because coming up, it just feels like there's going to be this big period of change for you. So, try to be empathetic, but at the same time, protective of yourself. Anyway, love you lots. Hope you enjoyed your read.